Alright, so this map is about seeing and observing the number of parks in Lexington compared to the number of schools in Lexington. Growing up in Moorhead, Kentucky, there was only one park that I knew of, and seeing these other cities like Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Louisville having a plethora of parks for their schools in their respective cities, it was clear that their local governments were taking care of their families' needs. And on top of that, kids got to play and have fun as children should. So this brought up the idea for me to conduct research and create a map on the city of Lexington for the local government and people that reside in Lexington in order to see if the local government is actually doing their job. So to start, all of my data was obtained from two database websites. The main ground layer of boundaries between states, roads, population density, and urban areas were all taken from the Natural Earth database, in which all of it was data from 2020. I used this to provide as much context and details to the map as I could to help the audience of local citizens and government officials to understand what exactly is going on. It also provides a great setup for how I can place the quote-unquote meat of the content into place. This consists of parks, schools, and local roads, which were all taken from the Lexington Open Data Portal and were also data from 2020. This provides the part that needs to be analyzed and decompressed into simpler terms for us to even be able to answer the question of if the local government is doing justice to local families. Once all the data was gathered, it needed to be put into QGIS in the proper order from the ground layer of states' roads up to the actual subject matter of schools and parks. Then I needed to add color to the map. The main thing I kept in mind while conducting this part was to create a solid visual hierarchy. So I want to go with a light color with the light intensity for the backdrop and then move up the intensity for the population density. Then I simply chose colors, blue and orange for parks and schools, that contrasted with the backdrop and were able to be seen very easily. They could also contract with each other so the two data points and labels couldn't be told apart very clearly too. The roads were placed with a darker color but maintained a light intensity, so it didn't really interfere or confuse people with the way they saw the map. Once that was done, all that was left was to type in a title and a legend, and that was it. The main objective when making this map was to make sure that I could get my point across to the audience without having them to take a very in-depth look at the map to get an understanding of it. Everything just needed to come to them. So when looking at the map, it is good to keep in mind that the main goal is to see if local families are being taken care of and if the local government is doing their job. And I think that is something that this map clearly and successfully captures. The various amounts of schools and parks spread out all around the country shows that equal opportunity for all kids and families from all different backgrounds is at the forefront for local officials. So I believe when looking at it, with all the data spread out and laid out on this map, it can confidently be said that the local government is, in fact, doing their job. Though I must say I am surprised by this result mostly because some cities and communities officials prioritize places that are more stable in the way they function as opposed to those low-income areas. In this case, that does not seem to be an issue as there is an equal distribution of parks and schools all around the city for kids and families to use. The map addresses the audience of children and families in that they can rest assured that they will be taken care of. As for local government officials, they can take this as positive feedback in what they are doing for young families and have one less thing they have to worry about in making Lexington a great place. Overall, I think this map is a strong, clear visual representation of parks versus schools and is relatively easy to differentiate what is what. Though if there was something I could nitpick about this certain topic within the map is that it could be argued that the map skews the story that it tells. Yes, it shows a great widespread distribution of schools to parks, but it doesn't show the quality of each, and it could be argued that that is just as important as the distribution. I mean, after all, maps do lie. I think if all bases needed to be covered, maybe creating a map that rates the sanitation of and cleanliness of schools and parks would be an ideal further step in map making to achieve a better judgment as to how well the local government is actually doing.